Η Elle McAlpine είναι μια κορυφαία διεθνούς φήμης intimacy coordinator, μιας νέας θέσης εργασίας που δημιουργήθηκε στα κινηματογραφικά και τηλεοπτικά σετ, αλλά και στα θεατρικά σανίδια. Πάντα ήταν άβουλες οι ερωτικές σκηνές και το γύρισμά τους. Οι intimacy coordinators μελετούν, στείνουν και χορογραφούν τη σκηνή, διευκολύνοντας ηθοποιούς, σκηνοθέτη και συνεργείο και εξασφαλίζοντας την επαγγελματική συμπεριφορά όλων στο γύρισμα. Η Elle ήρθε στην Αθήνα για να μας τα εξηγήσει όλα αυτά. Καλεσμένη των νυχτών πρεμιέρας, τη συναντήσαμε λίγο πριν δώσει ένα πολύ επιτυχημένο masterclass στο Μέγαρο Μουσικής, μπροστά σε κοινό, σπουδαστές, επαγγελματίες του χώρου, ηθοποιούς και σκηνοθέτες. Elle, welcome to Athens. We can't wait for your masterclass. Thank you for finding the time to talk to Nova Cinema Greece. Can you explain to us what is the work of an intimacy coordinator? How do you create a safe environment on set for the intimate scenes?
Lovely to meet you. Thank you for having me. The process changes because each director is different, each actor is different, each production requires something of you that maybe the previous one didn't. But essentially the bare bones are you have a prep period. So if a production has done its due diligence and seen that there's intimate content and wants an intimacy coordinator, or at least realizes that they can hopefully elevate the intimate scenes, they'll hire us right at the beginning. And then we have conversations with all heads of department. So we speak with the director, we speak with the producers, we speak with costume, makeup, locations, props, anyone that will have an impact on the scene, and make sure that everything is in line for when we get to set that day. Check-ins with actors are really important. So we'll essentially establish ourselves as a part of the creative production team. We're there to obviously assist in supporting them and communicating their boundaries to directors and to producers, and fine-tuning exactly what it is that they're going to be doing on the day. Obviously those conversations are fluid and it can shift and change within a degree on the day, but we like to get a kind of understanding of what the scene is going to be, what the levels of nudity are, what the action is, what kind of simulated action they're doing, what the quality of that is, and just to get an idea of what the director wants. Do they need choreography help? That's something that's in my practice. That, you know, I'm an actor and I come from a movement background, so I have a lot of understanding of the body and how the body moves and how to make it look as good as it can during a simulated action.
You listen to the actor's concerns, you give your guidance, but if the director insists on something, who has final say?
So it's a balance, and I think ultimately, in my opinion, if you are asking an actor to do something that they do not want to do, you're not going to get the performance that you want anyway. And so if you listen to an actor, you know, my job is to create solutions. It's not to say no. It's not to hold up a red tape. I have a skill at talking about intimacy and sex, and I have an understanding of bodies in space and how we can shift and change a scene, hopefully to suit all of the boundaries that have been communicated to me. And because I'm privy to a lot of private conversations with actors, I have an understanding of them that perhaps the director, and I'm not saying that the directors don't have a very deep understanding of their actors, they absolutely do. But in this environment, there is something that they might have told me that they might not have told a director, and I have to hold that in confidence. And so I can kind of shift and change things subtly with ease, and hopefully with an energy that is not like, no, you can't do this, but an energy of, can we perhaps try this?
Have you ever shouted cut on a scene because you felt the actors were so uncomfortable?
Once.
Really?
Yeah. And the director was so generous with me. It came out, and it was right at the beginning of my career, and it was just going on too long. We'd had a point where that was when we were going to say cut, and it was quite intense simulated action. And then they were like looking around at us, and nobody was saying anything. And I can't remember if the director was maybe talking to the DOP about something in particular, but they were still doing the action. And so you're so beelined to what they're doing, and so beelined to their body language, to any shift in how they're looking or feeling, any eye contact that feels slightly panicked. And that's what I sense. And I was like, stop it. And actually everyone was sort of already doing their own thing. So it wasn't too intense. It wasn't like silent and then I just shout cut. But you can't do that as an intimacy coordinator. It's not your job.
You collaborated with Γιώργου Λάνθιμου and Ema Stone for the many and so powerful intimate scenes of Poor Things. Is there a difference when you have to deal with a famous star? Are they more protected?
She is the warmest, most open, most generous, kindest professional. And ultimately it's that. She's there to do a job. And she was so warm and welcoming to me. And I don't think I would have been able to have done the job I did without her and Yorgos being as generous with me as they were. It was quite an astounding experience. I didn't expect it. And it was just a process where I had to trust that, who am I? Who am I? They don't know me. They have an amazing rapport and chemistry that, of course, they want to keep sacred, and they don't want anybody just coming in and
You mean with Lanthimus?
yeah, yes. With the way he works, the way that they have a beautiful relationship, that they've worked together before. You have to be really careful. You don't want to go in there and enforce something. It's not the energy that is required. But because they let me in, it worked. And a lot of the work was actually just being there and observing and supporting the supporting artists who were coming in and giving them, the courage and the confidence and just talking to them and talking to, I worked with Emma for 3 weeks every day. So ultimately you build up a relationship with someone. We're human beings. She's a famous human being, but I'm also a human being, and that's all we are at the end of the day. And you build a friendship, and then they start to trust you slowly.
How willing was Yorgos Lanthimos to go with the new order of things? Give you room, respect you?
He is so generous with me, and the creative conversations and just being there in the room, being absolutely there to just absorb and listen to the ways in which they spoke about the intimate content. And the book is an amazing resource because it gives you so much, and the script was amazing. So there's so much there that's already written on the page as well. And so we were all just creating something that sat within everybody's comfort levels. And he was, he said to me one day, who's looking after you? I know. And then he was like, I'll look after you. And it was just such a moment of like, oh gosh, that's because I think this role is it's such a caregiving role. Sometimes it's nice to feel cared for, and there's like that lovely kind of energy that's coming back and forth, and I just will always remember that. And I was like, that is such a kind thing to say, and because I'd go in every day and I'd be very vulnerable, I'd be very vulnerable in my body, and because they enjoyed me showing them how it was done, and they felt that was helpful. And just giving very technical notes. And I think because I'm quite a physical person, sort of showing it was quite beneficial, but that's very vulnerable. You have to be, I'll show today in the masterclass, like there's and people will laugh because because there's a awkwardness around it. But I find that if you show it, you've done the embarrassing thing first, and then the actors feel an ease because it's like, well, she's just done something really embarrassing, like I can do it. And also I don't have the emotion, so I'm like, we can do it much better than that. But I think it gives them the permission to just play and experiment and the ease to kind of create what they want to create. But he was wonderful, completely wonderful.